Hey everybody, welcome back to Is It Kino, your favorite movie review podcast. I am back here once again with Kino Corner and Rusty Cage, and they're both just, oh buddy, they're so excited to discuss this amazing sequel to the movie we discussed last time. Rusty, just get going. I know you're just chomping at the bit here.
I'll be honest, when y'all asked me to do this episode, I was very dreadful because I saw the rating on this movie and it was terrible, and it was just about as bad as I expected. It was very difficult to get through.
Are you talking about a Space Odyssey or a Space Travesty?
He's talking about a Space Odyssey.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we did 2001: A Space Odyssey, one of my favorite movies. So, you know, I'm not opposed to Leslie Nielsen. I love Top Gun. I love a few of his other movies, but 2001: A Space Travesty had nothing to do with 2001: A Space Odyssey.
No.
Except for a name and
true.
very, very brief references, only so that the name made sense. Just enough that they could use the name, and then they just went on a wild fucking tangent, and it was very difficult to watch.
You would think that this movie would be a direct parody of 2001, but it's really more of a James Bond in space movie. Like a parody of that.
Like Moonraker.
Yeah.
Yeah. For sure.
Well, I want to say that 2001: A Space Travesty, I think you guys are really misunderstanding it, or at least, I don't know Mumkey's opinion, but I think Rusty's really misunderstanding it. You see, it's using Brechtian techniques of letting us know that it is a film. See, the timing of the comedy is off on all the jokes. That's on purpose.
Right.
See, because it's a meta commentary on slapstick comedy.
Okay.
Right. This is Nietzschean.
Yeah, it's distancing us from the work of art that is 2001: A Space Travesty. It's distancing us purposefully so that we can meditate on what comedy is, especially what slapstick comedy is. You know, it's actually a very existential film, and what it is, it makes us think about film in general, what the meaning, what the purpose of comedy is, what the purpose of any of this is.
How important humor is and how important timing is. You don't realize that it's not there until it's gone, and then it becomes very evident that humor is missing. and structural, a good story structure or anything that makes sense at all. This movie was so poorly put together, it didn't make sense. Half the jokes had no setup. I didn't even understand how, like, why is this the joke? Or is this the joke? I'm not really sure. It's just something weird that's happening, as though the editors came in and cut out all the setups and they only had the ridiculous and shitty punchline.
Well, if they were cutting stuff out, the movie is still way too long, so they did not cut enough.
Yeah,
I think the movie could have been longer. I think that for it to actually be a good parody of 2001: A Space Odyssey, it needed to be just as long, which is 2 hours and 20 minutes. I think they could have probably lengthened it a little bit. The timing was already off, so why not just lengthen, each little gag to actually last a little bit longer?
You're talking about so they could have really expanded upon the 30 minutes of toupee gags.
You didn't love that scene that would never end?
Yeah, you didn't love that scene.
That was about 30 minutes long. It was just one gag that lasted 30 minutes long.
Well, hey, honestly, before we start dissecting individual scenes, I want to give a general overview, a little background on why we're watching and reviewing this, and then I do want to go through the movie almost scene by scene, pretty much chronologically, because nobody will ever see this movie. Like, we might be the only 3 people on Earth who have actually seen the whole thing. I don't think anybody else could sit through it.
I want to say something to people who are interested in the movie. You can look up the trailer to it on YouTube, and the trailer shows in 2.5 minutes, shows the entire movie. So you can experience the entire movie in 2.5 minutes. It goes from start to end.
So when we were recording our 2001 episode, we talked about doing this kind of as a joke. I wasn't really joking, like I kind of wanted us to do this. But when I looked into it, it seems as though they want this movie to be erased from the face of the planet. Like, you can't stream it on any website. I can't torrent it. Like, nobody even wants to steal it. I could not find a copy of it. So the only way we could watch this was that I had to buy a used DVD of it off of Amazon for $17 fucking dollars. And then I shared it with these two. So, was this worth my $17?
Well, if this is a Kino makes $17 or more,
it
then
won't.
I would say yes.
I don't think any of them have ever made $17.
What did the buck breaking one make?
I'll have to look. I'll look after this. At the end, remind me, and I'll let you know the total lifetime gross. But this movie, of course, is just one of those shitty spoof parody movies. We've seen millions of them, like well, I was going to say a scary movie, but that's really one of the good ones. But all the shitty ones that came after. Epic movie, superhero movie.
Meet the Spartans.
Right. This is, I'd say, probably worse than even those. And I think that's why.
Here's the problem is that Leslie Nielsen, I mean, he's a iconic.
He's a Chad. I love that man.
Yeah. Great. Like, again, fucking the Naked Gun series, those were awesome. That was in that style of comedy. I mean, even earlier, going back to Airplane.
Yeah.
It's all in a style of comedy.
The Zucker Brothers style of comedy.
Yeah, yeah. And then even later, Wrongfully Accused was probably near the beginning of the decline. That was one that was kind of based off The Fugitive. But that was still a good movie. It was still funny. Whatever this was, it was as though the director was, or the writers were just trying to go for that, but really had no idea. It was like if SNL, the current SNL cast, wrote a Leslie Nielsen movie, and somehow they got Leslie Nielsen to actually act in it.
Well, clearly
they resurrected him from the grave because he was basically semi-unconscious for the entire film.
I guarantee he had no idea what half the jokes were.
I disagree. I think he is the shining star of this film, even when he's
the only star in the film.
No, I mean, like, he is a beacon of hope in the film that not everything in the world is complete shit. Because even when he's delivering badly written jokes, I still think he's doing a good job. I don't think any of the faults of the movie have anything to do with him. I think he's a professional. I don't think he was sleeping through it. I think he's doing his thing with the shittiest material ever written.
He took a paycheck and
as he should. Yeah. He was an old man.
Well, so I want to say this because you brought up, it's like, it feels like somebody who doesn't understand comedy that's making this movie.
Oh, I said it was as though AI wrote it.
Yeah, you said as though AI wrote it. But talking about the direction, the director is a guy named Alan Goldstein.
This was not an Alan Smithy movie?
It's not an Alan Smithy movie. Alan Goldstein, and he was a TV director, and he made some movies, and the movies he made were like Chain Dance. I have no idea what that is. Death Wish 5, The Face of Death. So the Death Wish that came out. No, the Death Wish that came out in the mid 90s. Like, okay. Death Wish with old Charles Bronson.
Right.
He made a bunch of TV movies, a film called Virus that has a 3.0 on IMDb. That's an action movie. So it has a 3 out of 10 on IMDb. He made another one called Jungle Boy in 98 that has a 3.7 on IMDb that, again, is not a comedy. So he was kind of known, I guess, for making a really shitty, a lot of times TV movies or like straight to video type films.
Now, do you embrace that when you're a director who only makes 2s and 3s, or are you striving for the 4 and maybe even 5 is the best of your career?
I think you're striving for a paycheck.
Okay.
Yeah, so as a man who exclusively makes 2 and 3 content myself, I'm pretty happy just with the money.
All right, I see.
Do you guys want to just start going through this movie then, and we can?
I do want to say real quick, because this is slightly notable. This movie was hard to get through just because of, I didn't understand what was happening, and things dragged on too long. At one point, about 30 to 40 minutes in, I did just stop and I watched gore videos for probably about 3 hours.
You needed a palate cleanser for the movie?
Yeah, I needed a palate cleanser, so I was watching Cartel, just like chopping people's
beheading videos
while they're alive. Yeah, exactly.
And that made you feel better.
It made me feel a little bit better.
Yeah, I mean, I legitimately, about 25 minutes into the movie, fell asleep, just passed out while watching it. It was so boring. I woke up 30 minutes later and I was like, fuck, I'm going to have to rewind this. I'm not getting this 30 minutes back.
Yeah, I literally watched the movie at 1.5 speed and it was still too long.
Yeah. Now, one thing notable before we get into like the frame by frame or the play by play is that it seemed like they wanted to have bigger actors in here. Like some of the characters, you can kind of see they wanted a Sinbad, but they couldn't get Sinbad to do it, so they had to get like a Sinbad adjacent nobody.
Well, at least they got the real Bill and Hillary Clinton.
That was fucking insane. Well, we'll get to that.
Yeah, what are they doing in there?
Yeah, so let's start off the play-by-play.
Well, the movie begins as all movies should, with the Big Bang. and the very, very first joke in the film is they say, "In the beginning, there was the Big Bang, and space expanded, leading to tiny white dwarfs." And then it shows a Caucasian midget dancing.
Yeah, and for some reason, he's wearing like a nightcap and holding a candle or some shit.
Yeah, and that's 10 seconds into the movie. We see a midget floating through space as a white dwarf, and then it gets even better when they introduce black holes, and for some reason Santa Claus and all of his reindeer get sucked into the black hole and die.
Yeah, and it was like a black guy doing the goatsy.
Why? Like, why is Santa here at the beginning of Space and Time?
Because it's wacky and, everything gets sucked.
Is he on a delivery? Because Earth doesn't even exist yet.
Well, there are other places that need presents by Santa.
Within 5 seconds of the Big Bang? I mean, I guess so.
I mean, you had the dancing dwarves. Do they not deserve presents?
Go ahead, Rusty.
I'm just thinking, I'm trying to think in the writer's room. They probably...
I don't think there was a writer's room for this.
But, okay, so whoever the person was who wrote it, they said... all right, let's see. In the beginning, there's stars, white dwarves. Oh, okay, white dwarves. We'll just get a white dwarf. Next, black hole. I don't know. Santa Claus.
Yeah, it kills Santa. Sure, why not?
Like, they didn't even think, like, is this funny? Is there possibly a better joke that can be put here?
There was a better joke, and that joke came right after, where they're looking at the constellations, and you have Sagittarius, and then it goes to Stificus, and it's a constellation of a penis.
All right, I did kind of like Stificus. That was kind of funny.
Well, what'd you think of the rising moon, and from behind the Earth we see a man's ass?
Yeah, very clever.
Mm-hmm. Or they say
like the black hole.
They say that Earth started creating like disgusting, hideous creatures, and it shows like Michael Jackson in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
Why was Michael Jackson in a wheelchair?
I like the unprovoked attacks on several celebrities, calling him disgusting.
They called him out before he was outed as a pedo too. Like, they just hated him.
Oh, yeah.
Who was the guy before they showed Michael Jackson?
Dennis Rodman? Was that him?
Yeah, it was Dennis Rodman.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So that makes sense. Yeah, he is a horrible, disgusting creature.
There are only 2 actual references to 2001: A Space Odyssey, and they're both at the beginning here. We have the ape walking up to the obelisk, and then I guess God flicks the obelisk onto the ape, and it crushes him to death.
Yeah, because he was making too much noise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, did you laugh at that part, Rusty, because you saw your favorite movie on screen?
No, I was waiting for something to happen, and I was like, all right, that's it. I realized at that point that this is probably not going to be really a parody of 2001, but just something that uses the name. Because I thought there was about three references to it.
Okay, well, the next one I remember is we see the floating space baby from the end, but it's actually Leslie Nielsen's head on the baby.
Yeah,
which is
again, it's in the beginning, which could have been tacked in.
Which is why I think this is a sequel, because it begins with the floating space baby, and the previous movie ended with that. So I guess he grew up into Leslie Nielsen.
That's
okay.
True.
So this is a direct follow-up from 2001.
Yeah, what happens is that in 2001, Dave becomes the space baby, and then he gets kind of older. He becomes like a 70-year-old man as a space baby, and then he goes down to Earth, and he actually takes the form of a bumbling idiot detective.
Whoa! How dare you? He's the hero of Earth. His name is Marshall Dick Dix, and
Marshall Dick Dix.
What was the joke there?
His name is Dick twice.
Dick.
It was just that it was Dicks, and it's like, oh, like multiple dicks.
Yeah,
is that an uncommon last name, Dix? Just like Cox. I mean,
I know Dixon and Dix.
Sure.
I mean, but
it is revealed later on his real name is Richard. He just goes by Dick.
Why didn't they call him Maury? Maury Dix.
Or I like to suck dicks.
I don't know.
Because I think
exactly.
if you say, the more times you say dick, the funnier it gets. See, that's the logic there.
Well, speaking of funny,
before we go forward, I want to bring up one thing, and it really worried me when watching the movie. I want to go back to the horrible, disgusting creatures, segment.
Okay.
The first two people they show are black people. And when I was watching it, I was like, uh-oh, is this one of those racist movies? And then they show Kiss. And Kiss, they're Jews. So I was like, it is.
They finally got something right.
Yeah, they put Kiss in. What, just random fucking people? Like Gary, the writer, again. Dennis Rodman, Michael Jackson.
Kiss.
Kiss.
It's so random. It's just like,
they're all
it's
hideous.
just like, it's like they just took like a hat, put a whole bunch of celebrities in there, and then just like put it, took it out. It's like, Dennis Rodman, Michael Jackson, and Kiss. Those are the horrible, disgusting creatures. They didn't want to put, Hitler and Stalin or the guy from Elephant Man. Yeah.
Well, I think it might have been a juxtaposition to show that, because you said it was two black people, but Michael Jackson was pretty white at that point. I think it was to show that Michael Jackson's skin, his skin looks like the Kiss makeup. I think maybe because it might have been.
Maybe it's like showing the spectrum from black to white because
humanity transitioning.
I say that Kiss is Jewish, but I know Gene Simmons is he's Israeli, but I think the other people are just white. So maybe it's just showing the spectrum of melanin in the skin and how all humans can be ugly.
Well, yeah, they have black and white, makeup, and so it shows that.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. It's actually kind of an equality thing.
Boys, I know that we want to shit on the movie, but I have to give credit where credit is due. The reason why I'm not giving this a 0 out of 10 is because it does genuinely have some jokes I liked. One of which is when there's a restaurant under siege. There's a bunch of terrorists holding hostages, and hero Marshal Dick Dix, Leslie Nielsen, he busts on in with his black slug bug as his police car. And the great joke here is that you have a bunch of, Arabic terrorists. They're wearing their towels. They got brown skin. They're holding their AK-47s, holding all these white people hostage. And of course, the joke is that Leslie Nielsen thinks that the white people are the terrorists, and he's trying to protect the Arab people. Did you guys think that was funny?
Yeah, I did, because that's like exactly what fucking happens in the world today. Where
this movie predicted the future.
Yeah. Where it's like, no, they're the innocent people. If it wasn't for you, they wouldn't be over here. These are the hardworking immigrants that built this country.
He said, like, the immigrants who built the railroads, they never complained. Like, hold up. That's kind of slave labor.
I would say that it would have been funny. I thought that the premise of the joke was funny, but again, the timing and the editing was off. So,
oh yeah.
It didn't quite work.
It's funnier in concept.
And
it's funnier in concept, exactly.
Well, it was cool too when all the cops were outside, and they're trying to say like, there's hostages in there, send the hostages out. All the black cops are like playing basketball and just completely.
Again, I'm saying a racist movie. Racist.
Yeah, if you're going to write a parody of 2001: A Space Odyssey, do you introduce your main character in like a hostage negotiation at a restaurant?
Right.
Yeah,
it instantly went into a wannabe Top Gun, because it was the same feel as Top Gun. He's like the narrating in his head. Naked Gun? Oh yeah, sorry, yeah, Naked Gun. Narrating in his head, what he's doing. It's all like kind of pulp noirish-esque wannabe style, but it just fell apart because it was fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any other thoughts on this scene before I transition us to the police station?
All right, let's see. So he escapes. He knocks something over. A completely random thing falls on the building, and all the hostages run out. And then he gets in his car and he drives back to the police station, where all the cars are exactly identical.
A bunch of black slug bugs. And this is the next part of the movie that actually made me laugh just because it's so stupid. But he walks in the police station and there's like a bunch of Japanese sumo wrestlers fighting each other. There's a bunch of like cheerleaders French screaming. Mimes. Yeah, mimes. And he's like, now to the untrained eye, this might look like a normal police station. That's pretty good. I like his voiceover. I love Leslie Nielsen. Like, his voice can make almost anything funny, although this movie does try to prove that premise wrong.
Yeah, no, they really put him to the test.
And in this police station, they introduce the sort of love interest, this blonde woman. I don't know her name, but she has some foreign accent, and she feels like a knockoff of like Britney Spears or something.
This is the Bond girl.
This is the Bond girl of the movie. She feels like she's this like European knockoff of Britney Spears, which plays. We'll get to that a little bit later.
Yeah, it plays into the plot having a knockoff.
Yeah, all of her.
Was Britney Spears out yet? This was 1999.
Yeah, this is 2000. So she would have been probably. This is when she would have been kind of hitting the mainstream, or maybe she's supposed to be Madonna or something like that. But like those blonde, like early 2000s, late 90s pop idol, you know. Let me look up. Oops, I did it again. When did that release?
Maybe 99 to 2001.
May 3rd, 2000. So, I mean...
Well, so I'm saying, but this is like such a high production. They were probably working on this since 97.
Yeah, so maybe it was Madonna. I mean...
you don't think they made this in like 3 weeks, Rusty?
No. The amount of work that went into it, this is definitely something that you can't do.
Did they really release this in the year 2000?
Yeah.
How do you not drop this in 2001?
They needed the money.
For real.
They needed to release it to recoup their losses.
Did 2010 A Space Odyssey come out in 2001?
I don't know.
Something should have. How do you pass up that opportunity?
When did Leslie Nielsen die? He died in 2010.
Right.
Do you think they were planning on dropping this in 2001, but when the trailer came out, the people demanded the movie come out ASAP because they needed to see it?
Well, I think they wanted to get in early and kind of prep people to kind of build up a hysteria and a zeitgeist, like where people will all say, wow, maybe this is what next year is going to be
This is what the future will be.
Yeah. The future is
right now.
The future is going to be basically making the moon Ibiza, and people go there to party with aliens.
Mm-hmm. One thing I did like about this movie is in all the Leslie Nielsen movies, there's always all the girls are always very hot.
Yeah.
So even though these are all unknown actresses, they're all pretty attractive.
They are, but this blonde girl, or a lot of them actually, but the blonde girl kind of stood out to me, especially. Her line readings are so bad. The way that she is supposed to show shock at some things, and it's just like she says it in the most just like bored, kind of like amateurish kind of way.
They probably told, because what I imagine is that they told the actors, they have no context of the scene. They're just saying, say this line, say it like this. So it's
like,
you don't think they studied the script and memorized it?
No, I'm sure it was all on the fly. Probably one room, they just brought in the actress and then, rotated the camera. Now here's the background. Now this is the background. Here's a green screen background, and you're done.
Well, I can tell you how some of these comedies are made. If we're going to go back to the very sort of genesis of Is it Kino?
The Big Bang?
No, The Office Christmas Party. Yeah, the Big Bang of
that's right. Kino. That's right. You were not even around, but the very first movie this podcast ever reviewed, you were literally in.
Yeah, so I can tell you, like, a lot of scenes in Office Christmas Party were not in the script, or not that the scenes weren't in the script. A lot of the dialogue was not in the script. They would have this guy who was like a writer, like a TV writer. He worked on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia and a few other things. He would sit next to the directors, and they would just like keep the camera rolling, and he'd be like making up like lines, like possibly funny lines while they were shooting. He'd give it to the director, and the director would be like, say this line. Okay, now say this line. Okay, now say this line. Okay, now say this line. So I wouldn't be surprised if they did a similar thing here, where it's like what they're saying isn't even the script, but it's like the director and the writer or whatever, just like coming up with random quote unquote funny lines that they're just like shooting at the actors and telling them to say right then. And the actor is just saying it,
Yeah, that kind of makes sense definitely how it felt.
Yeah. Like, there wasn't that much in the script, or maybe the script was good and they were just like, oh, this sounds funny now. This, in the moment, it's really not, I don't know, but I would believe it.
Well, if we're going to move on, we go to the police station, and this is when we get briefed on the mission, the plot, the meat of the movie is that up on the moon, was this really on the moon? I know that they called it vegan.
Yeah, it's the moon.
Like the space station that everybody's hanging out on, it's called vegan. What was the point of that What's the joke there?
What is the joke?
I don't know.
I know that there's Virgin Airlines or something like that, and on the spaceship it said Vegan Airlines. So
maybe it's a play on that. Maybe it's a play what's the CEO of Virgin named?
Richard Branson.
Yeah.
Richard Branson. Is he vegan?
Well, even if he was veganism really even a thing in 2000? I mean, I know it was.
It was kind of a thing, but it wasn't.
Was Emp born yet?
Now.
Like enough to where they would be making a joke about it and anyone would get it.
Yeah, Emp was born in what? He was born in 2000, right?
He was probably born in like 98.
Yeah.
I forget.
And you're his best friend.
He was a vegan baby. But anyway, here's the mission briefing. They've got this thing. It's technology that you can wear on your forehead, and then everybody can watch your memories as a projection on the screen. And the love interest, she was undercover up on the space mission thing, and they're making clones. And they cloned President Bill Clinton, and they're planning on... They said they already did. They replaced Bill Clinton with a clone, and the clone is going to destroy the world and do bad things. So Leslie Nielsen needs to go up to space and, I guess, save the real Bill Clinton and switch him out for the fake one. That's the mission briefing. And that's when I knew this was a true parody of 2001: A Space Odyssey.
That's when I said, "Uh-oh." I might have to pretend like I got really sick so I can do this podcast.
And then Leslie Nielsen puts it on and he sees him getting molested or something?
No. Leslie Nielsen relives his childhood where his mom warns him, or was it his mom or his dad?
About masturbating.
Yeah, they say if you play with your cock, you're gonna go blind. And then we see a doctor and the doctor says he's going blind and we don't know why. And then he's looking at a monkey and says, "Look, it's my girlfriend." So he jerked off, went blind, and then was so blind he thought a monkey was his girlfriend, and that was his childhood. That's his flashback.
So I gotta ask.
He did say that the machine was broken.
You think
was another?
that was a plot hole.
Yeah,
I gotta ask this question now. Is there gonna be a monkey box video on this because of this?
It technically qualifies. It would pretty low ranking, I have to imagine.
So the next scene.
So then it's like after he gets briefed on the mission, they completely forget that he's a bumbling fuck, and then they're like, "You have to do this. This is the most important mission ever. Even the slightest blunder, will just end the entire world. And also, we can't know that you're the one doing it. You're acting on your own. This is super top secret."
Yeah, it's like a James Bond type of thing. Like, we'll deny everything, sort of.
I wrote down the quote because it made me laugh. After they brief him, Leslie Nielsen says, "Kidnapping, robbery, and fraud. That's what I call breaking the law."
Yeah, there's a few lines like that, like the over the top. Oh man, I thought there was another one right around there. Well,
Probably.
whatever, I forget.
So now we're on what could maybe seen as a sort of parody of the scene in 2001: A Space Odyssey where he's on the flight going to the moon.
All right, yeah, right. So this is the third and probably final 2001: Space Odyssey scene, except for whenever they play the Blue Danube somewhere in the movie. I forget where it is. But yeah, so they're on the spaceship. And they're, it's like a bunch of passengers all sitting in their seats like an airplane or whatever.
They've got like an old rabbi Jewish guy sitting next to a hot woman with big tits.
Yeah, there was a rabbi.
You know what it's like? Heart. It's like mixing 2001: A Space Odyssey with Airplane because it also has like the nun reading the magazine.
They were really going for Airplane. There were several jokes that were recycled from Airplane and just didn't land at all. Speaking of airplanes, they crash and burn. But Leslie Nielsen, what was the first thing he coughs up a pee?
Yeah, and then it goes into the Bond girl's breasts, and then the rabbi tries to look in, and she's like, "No."
So then he gets up to use the bathroom.
All right,
no, before he goes to the bathroom, it's revealed that somebody brought an anvil on the flight, and it's just floating around in the cabin.
There's an anvil and a bra floating around.
Biker Heaven is what the nun is reading. Yeah, and all these women's undergarments are just floating around.
But here's the fucked up thing. We see the anvil floating in the passenger cabin. But then they say, okay, we're turning on artificial gravity. Right. So I'm thinking the obvious joke is it falls on his head and we see little Tweety birds flying around. But nothing like that happens.
I know. That was a huge buzz call. I'm like, all right, this anvil's going to hit someone. Who's it going to hit once the artificial gravity turns off? Because this movie
he does hit his head on it while he's bungeeing back and forth from the toilet.
Okay, so
but we're skipping ahead. We're skipping ahead because it says there might be hallucinations. So he sees this like 17th century dressed people dancing. They go into the bathroom.
Like Scottish dancers or something.
He opens it up and it's like these like traditional German like dancers with their lederhosen dancing around in the bathroom. And he's like, oh, okay. Then that's when he goes into the bathroom. And they turn the artificial gravity off and he shits or farts or something and it propels him at like the speed of a jet to
I'm going to include this shot in the podcast because it is the worst part of the whole movie for me. It is just so ugly and unfunny, and he's just like bungeeing back and forth through the cabin, hitting his head. It was so horrible.
But I'm laughing
while drinking the beer. While drinking the beer globs. I'm watching it right now.
Yeah. So right. So he farts. He blasts out of the bathroom door. He goes down the alley. His suspenders, I think, like get wrapped around some chairs, and so he flies past, the tension builds, then he flies back again, then he farts again, so he's just going back and forth like a slingshot going in both directions.
And nobody's even trying to help him. They're just watching him.
He doesn't get hit by the anvil. He gets hit by a fishtail.
Oh yeah, what the fuck? He gets hit by a fishtail. Yeah, no.
He does bang his head on the anvil once.
Does he?
He does. I specifically remember it.
Okay.
Yeah.
You sure it's not a case of the old
why the fuck would they put that in the movie if he never interacts with it at all?
There's a lot of things they put in the movie that just don't play out. It wouldn't be the first.
But I promise you he hits his head on the anvil at least once. But I thought it would fall on him.
Let me see.
Like he bumps into it while it's floating past him.
No, he doesn't.
He does. They even put in a sound effect. I guarantee it.
I'm rewatching it. So we're at the second one where he drinks the beer globs. So now we're coming up to the third one, and he gets hit by the fish, and now
are you watching him spring back and forth?
Okay, yeah, the anvil is on the fourth one.
Yeah,
the anvil's on the fourth one. Okay,
all right. So maybe we should give him a little bit more credit. He does hit his head on the anvil. It wasn't just a red herring.
But it should have. When they turned on the gravity, it should have fell. Like, why'd they turn gravity on and off within 2 minutes and nothing happened?
I'm also not going to nitpick here, but whenever he coughed the pee up and it bounced around the room and landed between her tits, she picked it up and then she threw it behind her shoulder and it just kind of flew.
Yeah, it didn't float around?
There was gravity at that point.
Yeah. So that brings us to the vegan moon base, and we see all these crazy aliens. They're really going for, I guess, like a Star Wars kind of vibe. They literally have a guy dressed as Darth Maul, and for some reason he's singing the Candyman song from Willy Wonka. He like sings one lyric of it and then walks away, and that was the joke.
That was the joke. Is completely random.
Like, Darth Maul walks up to Leslie Nielsen and sings, "Who can make the sun rise?" And then he walks away. Like, what?
Wait, wasn't there also... This is when they tried to do a kind of an airplane-esque joke where he was talking to the Sinbad character, who's kind of his liaison, I suppose. Like, he's just showing him around, and it's supposed to be Sinbad, but somehow they could not get Sinbad. So they got this other guy who just looks like him, and he speaks in jive, and Leslie Nielsen can't understand him because he's like, "Yo, honky, can't you see what he's throwing down?" And I forget who he's talking to. Oh, a French guy, because he didn't understand the French accent either. And then that's when Darth Maul came up.
Why was Darth Maul singing the Candyman song?
I don't know. Well, I was trying to figure that out.
I want to bring up something too. So this is an example where it has a punchline that absolutely does not work because it doesn't make any sense. When he's going through customs, they open up his briefcase and find the panties that had been floating around in the space shuttle. And she's like, what are these? And, you know, he says like, "Oh, they're not mine." He says something like that.
He says, I'm writing a book.
I'm writing a book.
Now, I think this is a throwback to older comedy because I feel like I've heard that before. He's writing a book, so he's doing research on something.
On wearing women's panties?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, possibly. But I think that's a setup from, that's why they had the shot of the undergarments floating around.
Oh.
But we're just supposed to think that somehow they floated right into his closed briefcase, suitcase or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, they were the same underwear.
Yeah. It just doesn't make any sense.
We have some world building.
Yeah. If you actually read the source material, this was actually based on a book by Isaac Asimov, and if you read the book, you'll get a lot more context for what all these things are doing. You know, as you just see the imagery, actually reading the background story behind it, you realize what the underwear represent. I'm not gonna. Did
Stanley Kubrick and Alan Smithy write this book together while working on the screenplay?
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay.
Alan Schmitty, he wanted Isaac Asimov to write something,
and Kubrick was helping too, right?
Look, I'm gonna defend the French people a little bit. That man is not
don't
French.
Do that.
He's Italian. Don't besmirch the French using this movie. There's plenty of other reasons to besmirch the French, but 2001: A Space Travesty is not one of them.
That guy wasn't.
We have some world building. These aliens, they're speaking English, and they're all doing bad impressions of basically just Arnold Schwarzenegger. But they say, yeah, aliens learned English from watching American TV, so now they all sound like celebrities. And I feel like they did not utilize that concept enough. It's really just like, I'll be back, like the fucking Arnold shit. They could have done so many more celebrities. You could have got like some really hideous, disgusting looking aliens and then pretended it was like Rosie O'Donnell or something, but they really don't do anything like that.
Right. They dropped the ball there. I saw a few trying to be celebrity imitations later, but oh my God, this fucking cat in the background is just meowing. I gotta close my door. Continue.
There's another alien that is just a monkey, and I wrote down his dialogue. The monkey alien is talking to a woman, and he says, "Hey there, have you ever done it monkey style?" And then he says, "Too bad, it could have been a hairy ride." What?
Yeah, and he says it with this tone that's like, "Hey there, have you ever done it monkey style?" And then she just like gets up and leaves and goes, "Too bad, it could have been a hairy ride."
Yeah, I feel like
weird tone.
If this is going to be a monkey box movie, it just got a few more points.
So this was the beginning of the longest scene in the movie, the longest gag, where they introduce kind of the
Bond villain.
Yeah, the Bond villain who I forget what exactly he's supposed to do. He like runs some operation.
His name is Dr. Pratt. Which is not, is that like a pratfall? Like, what is the reference? Because at least his sidekick is named Dr. Cuntster, which is pretty funny.
So he's the bad guy, but he's pretending to be the good guy or something, like they're all working together. And he's interested in the young blonde partner of Leslie Nielsen.
The Bond girl.
Yeah, Dix. Yeah. And Leslie Nielsen is going up to the buffet table, and he picks up a weird gelatin fruit thing that gets stuck to his hand. And as he's trying to sling it off of his hand, it flies behind him, and it sticks to the back of the Bond villain's toupee. To which Leslie Nielsen goes back over to his toupee. And this guy, by the way, this Bond villain, he's creeping on this blonde girl. She's not really feeling it. But he's charismatic, and he's trying to show her how much money he has and all the connections he has. But right then, Leslie Nielsen grabs the gelatin thing off the back of his toupee, and it pulls his entire toupee off, revealing that he was actually bald.
And of course, comedy comes in threes, so we have to see the same setup and payoff 2 more times.
Yeah, because then his sticky hands end up pulling off the dress of a woman pretty quickly. I mean, that dress really came off. I think that dress
and she was hot too.
She was I think that dress was designed to come off very easily.
Yeah, so it was like a tearaway.
Yeah, it was a tearaway dress, so she was expecting to be in the semi-nude. But no, it came off really fast. So it just, they literally put that gag in there just to be like, okay, let's get some TNA in here.
Yeah, we need a nice ass to be shown on screen.
Yeah,
but Rusty,
no one cares about anything else.
Rusty, so Leslie Nielsen gives the toupee back to the bad guy, and then that's the end of it, right?
No, you think, right? No, because the end of the joke should have been when he puts it on his head and it's crooked.
Yeah.
And then he's embarrassed and he's like, talking to the blonde girl because he's showing her around. He's like, oh, come with me. Realizing that he's kind of blowing it at that point. Because now he's revealed that he's a disgusting, disfigured, bald guy.
Right.
But then, wait, what happened? Because what happened to the gelatin?
And then the toupee gets taken away from him by some other means. I forget exactly what.
It keeps falling off his fucking head, and Leslie Nielsen keeps putting it back.
And then it gets served to him, so it's in his dinner plate.
Yeah, and he's eating it.
He eats it.
The gelatin thing first goes onto the toupee. He pulls it off the toupee, flings it. It hits the girl's dress, and then does it rip her dress off, or does he try to pull it off of her dress? Oh, I think it's what he does. It lands on her dress. He tries to pull that off, so he essentially tears all of her clothes off.
Oh, what happens is that he
which
puts
would have
it
been
on.
A funny name.
Oh, he puts it on, and then he's standing next to a violinist, and the violinist bow takes it off of his head.
Oh, that's right. So then she flings it. So the violinist bow takes the toupee off. She flings it, and it lands on the roof. I think it lands on the ceiling. This is right around the time where I started watching gore videos.
Right, because this sounds like we're going through it quick, but this toupee shit goes on for 20 fucking minutes.
I'm rewatching the scene right now. Okay. It lands on an alien that has like the two eyes on.
Right.
Each eye comes from a different stem, and then Leslie Nielsen tries to take it away from the alien, or he does take it away from the alien, and and somehow it ends up back on the dinner plate.
How did it end up in his food?
Oh, he put it there accidentally.
That's right.
Leans down he walks up and talks to them and just places the toupee in the dude's food.
That was pretty disgusting, because then the guy, without looking at his food, he starts to cut his own toupee, not realizing that's not on his head. He thinks it's there the entire time. And then he goes to eat his own toupee, gets very flustered, and he leaves. And then Leslie Nielsen's like, all right, baby, like, this is your chance to get out of here. Run while he's gone. Revealing that she didn't really like this guy, and now he's kind of a social antagonist.
I want to also point out a scene that we skipped over that is very important, and it's a weird semi-sex scene in the elevator where he's the second in command to Mr. Bad Guy,
Dr. Cuntster.
Is this brunette woman, or kind of dark-haired woman, and
she's a babe too.
She is, and she tries to seduce him later in the movie, and she literally shoves her tits in his face.
Yeah, when she tries to seduce him, she says, did you know that male lions can fuck 45 times in like 3 hours? And then it shows real footage of lions having sex. Over and over again.
Yeah. And so in the elevator scene, I guess he presses a button to make it go extra fast, and it just like has them pinned up against each other, with the G-forces having to make like these orgasmic faces.
And the G-forces don't even make sense to how their faces are moving, but whatever.
It doesn't even make sense. And then like they get down, and it makes it look like, because the door opens, the Bond girl is on the other side, and it makes it look like they've been having sex in that elevator.
Well, and then when there's no G-force on them, they're still like 69ing while standing up.
Yeah, and that's the thing. They stand up, and they're basically like 69ing, and she like farts in his face, I guess, is a joke.
Hey, we've all been there.
And they're just like turning around to address the Bond girl without. They just do it. It just lasts for way too long.
Yeah,
like it's like, as a joke, it should have been like a one thing, and then they like stop it, and then it kind of go back to normal. But it's like they just keep turning around and have this entire conversation in this position, and
that was before the toupee.
That was before the toupee, correct?
So that was just a lead up. You see about 15 minutes of one gag before another 30 minutes of another.
Yeah. So then there's another scene where the Italian guy is like a master of disguise, and he goes through all these different disguises, and he gives Leslie Nielsen this disguise to put on, and then this disguise thing is not brought up until like 40 minutes later in the movie. And the disguise that they wear is literally, he just puts on a fake beard.
Yeah, wait. Okay, so don't, because I have a huge issue with the later disguise. So on the early one, the guy's just dressing up. The scene pretty much ends with him saying he's the disguise guy.
Yeah.
And it's him just dressing up as goofy characters, like an old German guy drinking beer or
Albert Einstein.
Right. And that was fucking stupid. I don't know what they were going for. Like, was that supposed to be a joke or just like, was this movie? So this movie was not made for young children.
It is rated R.
It's rated R.
But
it
like
should have been PG.
The gags.
They should have made it PG.
Yeah. The gags are like for 6-year-olds. Like him just dressing up and all these characters going like, "Oh, I'm Albert Einstein." I didn't see the humor in it, but maybe I'm just a unhumorous fuck. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I didn't see the humor in it. And then the next scene after that is supposed to be, that they were probably filming this going, oh man, this is comedy gold. When he breaks into the doctor's place and just absolutely destroys it by just going through the table and then putting his hands through the table and just like,
yeah, he's such a bumbling fool that he's destroying the whole office when he's like, okay, I'm going to be quiet and covert and I won't make a sound. And then he's making lots of loud noise and setting off alarms. And even at 1.5 times speed, this scene goes on so fucking long.
Yeah,
now again,
we don't even know what exactly. I was confused as to what exactly he was doing, and I was like, oh, I guess he's spying on him or something like that, but he's
all these gags can work. All these gags have worked in the past. I mean, this is the same stupid shit that makes us laugh when we watch the Naked Gun movies or Three Stooges or something. But for some reason, when they did it in this movie, it didn't seem funny. It just seemed confusing.
Yeah, and this is the scene he gets blue paint all over himself. So in the next scene, when the doctor comes to confront him about breaking into his place, he puts shaving cream all over his face to disguise it. And okay, that could be funny, but then it's followed up by him basically covering the doctor in shaving cream and blue paint.
Yeah, why was he doing that?
Yeah, like, I'm just like scrolling through this scene right now, and it'll last for like 5 minutes.
I really think I missed this scene. I must have been cooking or something.
Good.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to go back and watch it now.
You didn't miss much.
Can we start going a little bit faster? Because the minutia of these scenes. There's another clever line coming up where the Bond girl is like really kicking ass. Like they're trying to save the president, and she's beating up all the henchmen. And Leslie Nielsen says, while she's like jumping around and stuff, "What a cunning stunt." I thought that was a pretty good joke.
Instead of "what a stunning cunt."
Right.
Oh man, that's funny.
That is pretty good, honestly.
I want to bring up how, so when the Bond girl, she does like this like Britney Spears or Madonna style like pop music performance at this alien party, and the production of the music was like so hollow, it was so flat and like completely lifeless. I was like, this is terrible.
There is a full like 5-minute song concert with aliens in the audience. Yeah, and it was pointless. It wasn't even funny. It was just performing the song.
And the actual music, it was like there was no production to it. It felt like it was her vocals with some minimal like backing to it. It didn't feel full. It was like, I don't like, Rusty's more of a music guy.
She was trying to be a budding pop star, and she took this role for low budget with the assurance that her entire song could be in it.
That wasn't even her song, was it? Isn't that just a normal song?
Oh, I don't remember, actually.
I'm pretty sure it's a popular song.
So the big twist, okay, so there's another
The twist was another part of the movie I liked. I thought it was halfway clever.
Yeah, so the twist is that Bill Clinton was actually not kidnapped.
Well, don't go too far. Don't go. the point is Leslie Nielsen, like the Bond villain says, oh, no, yeah, I feel bad. I don't want to do this to the president. Here, I'll take you straight to him. And he takes them to where they're holding Bill Clinton. They start to escape. The Bond villain's like, no, I'm actually really evil. But he lets them go. He says, no, don't chase them. And I'm like, I wonder why he's letting them go. And then we get to the big twist.
Yeah, so then the big twist is that Bill Clinton wasn't actually kidnapped. They made the clone, and they were using Leslie Nielsen to replace the actual president with an alien clone. So they do that, and then there's a press conference, and Bill Clinton goes up there and says, like, we're going to allow aliens to come to Earth. Basically, I guess it's like a illegal immigration sort of thing. It was like amnesty for aliens type of deal. And then they're like, wait, that's not the real Bill Clinton.
Yeah, so Leslie Nielsen got played, and he straight up did what he was trying to prevent. And he has another great voiceover line that I wrote down when he says, the job was to undo what I had already undone.
Yeah, that was a clever line. But what they do is they go to Paris for this opera or this like musical performance by
and this is your favorite part of the movie, Kino. You kept raving that the final act of the film is pure Kino.
No, this was good. This actually like, made it worth watching for so many different reasons.
There's a lot of good gags in this ending.
It's my multiverse of madness. Because you see the Pope, you see Prince, you see all these Saudi princes.
They've got some pretty good one-liners. The Pope says, what you told me this was a rap concert. I hate opera. And he starts hitting his men.
Yeah, I mean, it's still like, it still kind of conforms to this idea that some of the gags, or a lot of the gags or jokes, are funny in concept, but not in not in execution.
Yeah, in execution.
So, yeah.
What the fuck, man? That was Hillary Clinton.
It was Bill and Hillary, I thought. Isn't that both?
There was the actor that played Bill Clinton that sounded like him but didn't look like him. But the actress that played Hillary Clinton looked like Hillary Clinton.
With nicer tits. Because there is a scene when Hillary Clinton gets ice cream all over her tits, and, not bad.
Yeah, I had to pause it there for a second.
Yeah, that actress is actually... so I'm looking at her. Her name is Teresa Barnwell, and her entire resume on IMDb is her playing as Hillary Clinton.
Oh my God! Things. Did the Bill Clinton guy also have that trajectory? Maybe they're married in real life.
So the Bill Clinton guy's name is let me see, Mr. President. They just have him as Mr. President. Damian Mason. And this is the only movie he ever appeared in.
Wow. He actually does a pretty good job. He has to play both Bill Clinton and the clone, so, it's a dual role. There's another funny line. One of the stupid plot things is that Bill Clinton has a birthmark, and they're like, oh, you can tell I'm the real one because I had the birthmark removed 3 months ago, and the clone has... But so he keeps trying to pull down his pants to show off he does not have the birthmark, and the narration says the president had to make every effort to keep his pants on. Another good Bill Clinton dig.
Every time he showed his birthmark, there'd be like this montage of like archival footage of people going like,
yeah, what the fuck was that?
Yeah, it was just. I was like, what the?
When this movie cuts to random footage of other shit, it's so baffling.
What was the joke that Bill Clinton said? He's like, yeah, I went to Tokyo and they asked me if I liked sushi. I said, sure, send her up.
I wrote that one down because that was another funny one. Hillary and Bill are sitting next to each other in the audience, and Hillary says, what did the Japanese delegation say? And Bill says, oh, you can't understand a word they say. That's another good one. This movie has a few good jokes.
He thought he was going to fuck someone named Sushi.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, no, don't worry, babe. You can trust me.
Yeah, send her up to the room or something like that.
Yeah.
So Leslie Nielsen, disguises as the main singer. And I guess the people in the backstage just accept his disguise, even though he looks nothing like it.
What the fuck was the joke here?
With the condoms?
Yes. He's looking for a disguise, and he puts on a beard, and for some reason there are two used condoms.
Okay, so I have a theory. Maybe it's that the beard is actually supposed to be like a merkin, Maybe
Mergen.
Something that you used to warm up your pussy?
It's like a it's in movies and movies and stuff. I mean, I guess people use them outside of movies, but it's like a fake pubic hair, like a fake bush that you put a woman will put like on her vagina. It's like basically hide the vagina.
I assumed it was to keep it warm.
Or keep it warm. I mean, I think that people back in like the prostitutes and whatever in the Middle Ages, they had them to basically like keep it warm and I guess clean or something.
Okay.
But so I'm guessing maybe that was it. But I mean, it looked like a fake beard. I don't know. I'm trying to justify something that doesn't really make much sense. But there's two condoms, and one of the condoms says what? Like some fucking like toy at the end of it?
Yeah, it's like got some frilly thing on the end of it, I guess.
Yeah.
Stimulation.
And then he gives it to the woman, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, thank you so much." And then she runs into the real guy.
Whoa, back up, because you're skipping one of the two good jokes with these condoms. I'll agree, it makes no sense that they would just randomly appear on his fake beard. But when the woman who's a big fan tries to give them back, he says, "No thanks, they're not the right condoms for my beard." As if there's a correct condom to have on your beard.
Okay.
I must have missed that joke.
Oh, okay.
By the way, she thinks that he's Pavarotti, who is the famed opera singer, part of the Three Tenors. I think that's what they're called.
Oh, it's Pavarotti, yeah.
Yeah, and the Three Tenors there's a parody of the Three Tenors who are doing the opera during this grand final scene.
And let's talk about the music, because they play the entirety of the Village Peoples in the Navy.
Yeah.
And I think I accidentally made an earth-shattering discovery, because as I said before, I watched this movie at 1.5 times speed, and I implore all of you at home to try this out. Listen to In the Navy by the Village People at normal speed and 1.5. I am convinced the 1.5 speed is the superior version of the song, and it's actually a pretty good bop. You guys should listen to it.
Because listen, I'm not gay, but I love the Village People. They have some pretty tight songs.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Most of the Village People not gay, and there was actually like some controversy where they were trying to distance themselves from like being seen as gay
from
icons.
having AIDS.
No, that's what I heard.
Know,
like
man.
their lead singer was gay, but like the other members of the band weren't.
They had no idea that they were in this band that everyone thought they were gay. Like, wait, what? No, I'm not gay. Wait,
you think
everyone thinks we are?
You think the lyrics to YMCA are about having gay sex? What? No.
In the Navy, you only have to be 17 in the Navy. All right, I'm playing it right now.
I guess,
play it at 1.5 speed.
I guess a few of them. I had heard some stuff that it was like, well,
ooh, this is
some
fast.
of them weren't.
Yeah, I think everybody in the audience, if you decide to listen, let me know in the comments which version sounds better.
Dang, it's like a...
Isn't it better?
Now, did it change the pitch, or is it just the speed?
I did it on YouTube with the 1.5 on YouTube.
Okay. So on out.com, which is like a gay, I guess, sort of a news site, there's an article that says the Village People will sue you for saying YMCA is about gay sex.
Okay.
Can they sue you for that?
The heterosexual frontman for the Village People wants you to know the iconic song YMCA is not about illicit gay sex. Warning, he's going to sue anyone who suggests otherwise.
Uh-oh.
I've never heard so many in denial gay guys in the Village People. They're clearly all gay. One guy's just dressed like a gay S&M dude. I don't know if he's supposed to be a cop.
That's the village I want to go to.
He's not supposed to be a cop. He's dressed like a gay, like he's got like all the chains around him and the leather.
They all look gay, but it's a mixed bag when it comes to the Village People. I guess some were gay, some weren't. But
okay, but definitely not the lead singer who wrote all the songs.
Yeah, the guy who wrote most of the songs was not gay and doesn't like being seen as gay.
Well, I apologize if I said anything about him being gay or YMCA being about being gay. It's a great song and written by a heterosexual man.
So, Kino, do you think this sequence of the song playing with all the action, cutting loose, you thought this was pretty Kino or what?
Yeah, it actually reminded me of another very Kino scene in another movie, which is a Mission Impossible. I think it was Rogue Nation when it's at the opera there too, and they have the different snipers on the lady, and Tom Cruise has to saved the day. You remember that? I think it was Rogue Nation, right? Was that mission?
I only
Mission
saw
Impossible?
it in theaters, so I don't really remember.
Yeah, so it definitely reminded me of that scene and its intensity and its cinematography and its honestly just its breathtaking ability to really tell a story centered around a stage and centered around parallel action. I mean, we have a whole lot of stuff going on, and it's all set to the tune of "In the Navy." I really love that shot where sung by Pavarotti, and I really love the shot where it's sped up of Leslie Nielsen beating the guy up, and he like falls on the control board. And then, of course, we get the dueling saxes between the two Bill Clintons.
Right. Yeah. So the whole mission is, okay, we fucked up. I accidentally replaced Bill Clinton with a clone. So now Leslie Nielsen and the real Bill Clinton go in undercover in their disguises, and they want to switch him back during this concert. And the two Bill Clintons are fighting each other, and somebody says, "There's two of them? My gosh, this could be an intern's nightmare."
Yeah. Yeah, that was a good line.
I'm glad you're picking up on all these jokes that I probably was just blankly staring at the screen.
Yeah,
I did have the subtitles on so I could catch the jokes.
Nice.
So,
the audio was terrible, by the way.
Yeah.
So the that was definitely like I mean, and it ends with the one hot chick that was working for him turning into an alien, and then what happens? What happens is she brings out a gun to kill the other Bill Clinton. They put like this pipe in a cannon. They shoot it into Pavarotti's butt, and it makes him sing this like really loud note that just like turns her back into being this like ugly ass alien. And then she like blows up into a balloon.
And then she becomes Arnold Schwarzenegger.
They like slingshot her, and she like bursts into a million pieces.
Yeah. Okay. So Pavarotti sings, and that causes her, because they made a reference at the beginning of earlier in the movie that there was an alien that was hiding as it was disguising itself as a human, and that was illegal. So she was an alien who was disguising herself as human. Pavarotti, his painful singing voice caused her to turn back into an alien, but then for some reason she's full of air and farting and flying around the room. That I didn't. I think
that's calling back to the elevator scene where she farts in his face.
Well, and she's also doing an Arnold Schwarzenegger impression. She's like, "Oh, I'll be back," and then when she's dead, they say "Hasta la vista," and everybody started clapping. It was so funny.
Yeah. So the heroine, the blonde girl, she pulls out a slingshot and
and she goes into a million different pieces.
And everyone's covered in goo.
Yeah.
Green goo.
And everyone's happy.
Yeah, no, Leslie Nielsen saves the day. It's a happy ending.
And then there's like this bizarre sort of epilogue where...
Wait. Sorry. One more thing. When was it when Bill Clinton was playing... Like, he was playing a wackety sax, but it wasn't wackety sax. They couldn't get the rights to wackety sax.
Yakety sax?
Yeah, yakety sax. Like,
right.
So they had just a weird version of it that was close enough that you knew what they were trying to do, but it wasn't the actual one. It seems weird that they couldn't get that, but they got In the Navy.
Yeah.
All right, sorry. That was my last thing for that
and
part.
the Bond girl was like playing flute or something. She was like playing music. I mean, she's doing like a million different things in this movie. It's like, oh, so she's a pop singer. Oh, she's actually like a flautist.
And she's very good at kicking ass.
Yeah, she's just kind of anything they want her to be in the movie.
Other than funny.
Movie.
Yeah. And so then we get this epilogue scene where,
which Rusty was blown away by the epilogue, and it really recontextualized the rest of the film, and he had a newfound appreciation, I think.
No, you get me wrong. When we were talking in Discord and I said, what the fuck is this ending? I was talking about the scene that just happened. I didn't realize there was another ending.
Yeah, so
you didn't even watch the final scene?
No, I did, but...
He has his bottle of Moet champagne. He uncorks it. It kills this parrot and falls into this rice soup. And everyone's just nonchalant about it. The one of the waiter just goes and like wrings the soup out of the parrot and walks away. But then the thing that it's just like how it ends is that these two aliens come in there with guns and they go, "We have big guns now, surrender or die," or something like that. And then Leslie Nielsen's like, that's not a big gun. And he pulls out this comically sized revolver and says, this is a big gun. And then they just run out. And then Leslie Nielsen just hugs the woman, kisses her, maybe. I forget.
They get it. He gets a kiss, and then it freeze frames on him smiling, looking at the camera, and then it fades to credits.
Yeah.
Did you see the also one of those aliens, he was kind of doing a Peter Lorre impression.
Yeah, and they're supposed to look like cone heads.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
He also does try to eat a club sandwich, and he eats the entire thing, and he gets the toothpick stuck in his mouth.
that hurt me physically watching. I hated that part.
It really did.
When he bites into the sandwich without taking out the toothpick, and it's just like, oh, fuck that.
The top of his mouth and the bottom.
Why did they put that in there?
It's just painful.
It was pain cringe.
It made me so upset. But that's 2001: A Space Travesty. I mean, is it Kino?
I think at the end, when he's smiling at the camera and it freeze frames, he's smiling because he's like finally free.
The movie's over. You can go home.
The movie's over. It's just like, I'm as happy as you are that this thing is over.
Now, did you see the post-credits scene?
Was there
isn't one.
It was like, alternate ending.
I didn't see anything. As soon as I saw the credits, I turned it the fuck off.
Yeah,
so you'll have to tell me.
No, I'm kidding. There wasn't.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. I was like, no, like once the credits hit, I was just like, I'm done.
Well, Kino,
what are we talking here? If you guys 3.7 out of 10.
I was about to ask the same thing. If you're doing your letterboxd review, Kino, what rating are you giving this movie?
I gave it a 0.5 star out of 5, which is a 1 out of 10.
Is that the lowest you can give?
No, you can give a 0 out of 10.
Oh, okay.
How can you give a 0 out of 10? That means that literally nothing happened.
No, I mean, it's just me. Like, a 0 out of 10 is like a student film, or it's like something where it's like literally just incomprehensible, technically totally bad. This is a 1 out of 10 because it did have like 2 jokes that kind of worked for me, but everything else about it was just mediocre. It's almost like it was so mediocre in every way and bad in others that it just made it terrible. Like, there's probably films that may be technically worse that I like more. Like a Neil Breen movie is technically maybe a worse film, but I enjoy Fateful Findings more than I enjoyed this. This just was like, it's an hour and a half. It feels like it's 5 hours long. The thing is that a bad comedy of this nature, it's just one of the worst things.
Do we know how much this made at the box office? Because I believe it was in theaters, right?
It was in theaters, and I don't know why it's in like the 4:3 aspect.
What the fuck? Why is it in 4:3?
Because that feels like it was made for TV.
Their estimated budget, at least according to
God,
is $45 million.
$45 million in 2000.
Okay.
What?
The aspect ratio was initially 185:1, which is like 16:9. It's very close to 16:9. It's just that I think that they did a release of it, and like all those like old releases, were in 4:3 because TVs back then were 4:3.
Yeah, they did not have a Blu-ray re-release of this film. I did have to buy an old DVD of it.
So its budget was $45 million, and its
that is fucking crazy. $45 million.
Yeah, and they couldn't get any like known actor outside of Leslie Nielsen.
If I had to guess, I was going to say $5 million. Was this money laundering?
It might have been.
That's funny. Yeah, this is money laundering. They made this movie just so people say,
this explains it. Filming locations: Montreal, Quebec, Canada. It's a fucking Canadian movie. That explains everything.
Oh, it's Canadian money?
But $45 US is the budget. But the gross, that's estimated. They say estimated, so it could be less. Honestly, they might have said it was $45 million to basically for tax evasion purposes. But the gross worldwide, according to IMDb, is 270,000.
Are you fucking kidding? Is this the biggest flop of all time?
I wonder if this is like a producer situation where they try to make it as bad as possible because they would actually get more money from it doing terribly and basically screwing over investors. like they could pay themselves or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wonder
what you're saying. So they get all these, they're like a Leslie Nielsen movie. They get $45 million in investment. They only spend, I don't know, $1 million, and then they keep $44 million split amongst themselves.
And then only the cast and crew saw it in theaters.
yeah, basically, like no one saw it. I mean, 270,000.
That's like, unheard of. Did it like so? There was no wide release.
I think there was some sort of wide release, but
that's like 10 people total.
Yeah, what's the cost of a movie ticket in 2000?
Probably like $5.
Yeah, probably like $4 or $5. I mean, that's not that many. $270,813 across widescreen. So if you're saying like, you know, wide release is what, around 2,000 cinemas. That's like let me see, 270,000 divided by 2,000 is what? It's 27 divided by 2, right? That's 14.
So 14 people per theater saw this movie?
Yeah. Basically.
Was it out for like one weekend and they gave up?
Maybe. I wouldn't be surprised if they put it out for a weekend and it just nobody saw it.
According to Wikipedia, the release date is Halloween of 2000, but and then in parentheses it says Tokyo. So it came out on Halloween in Tokyo. They don't have an American release date though.
I would say that I would probably rather do anything Halloween than watch 2001: A Space Travesty. I don't think that's a fun way to spend Halloween.
No, definitely.
But I want to say this. It has 12,000 ratings on IMDb, and it's 3.4, and that's one of this director's higher rated movies.
Yeah.
Now, do you believe that though? You believe 12,000 individuals watched and reviewed this on IMDb? Because you can't even stream this movie.
Look, I talked to
How did they watch it?
Some of my family members had seen this in the past.
They did?
Yeah.
It's probably a recent thing that they took it off streaming, but probably so many people are voting out of memory alone. Or, I mean, IMDb has been around for a while, and so you probably could have seen this movie maybe 6 years ago somewhere. Back when you could download it or just probably had it on YouTube. Is this not on YouTube?
So when I wanted to send it to you guys...
But it's like dubbed in a language, I think.
Well, because I couldn't find it on YouTube. I uploaded the full movie to YouTube to send to you guys, and it got blocked in like 13 countries, including the US.
Who?
Yeah, I'm like, who the fuck is defending this movie? They're not making money off of it anymore. Why do they care?
Okay, so it is on YouTube, but I think it's dubbed in Polish.
So yeah, you can't watch it in English?
Oh, it's on Paramount Plus?
What?
No, kidding.
Yeah, I was like, I searched pretty hard to find this so I wouldn't have to pay money for it, but...
Yeah, it's the Polish dub that's on, I believe it's Polish at least.
That might be the superior version of the film.
Oh my God, I forgot about this. Whenever they're in the spaceship and the hostess's dress just floats up, so it's just showing her ass.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
That was tight.
Yep.
So I'm going to say this. Leslie Nielsen being in the movie gets a 1. Pavarotti singing in the Navy gets another point, so that's already 2 out of 10.
Fair.
Attractive women, that's a 3. And the 2 or 3 jokes that got an internal chuckle, that gets the half point. So I mean, I do think the IMDb rating is kind of fair, 3.5 out of 10, and the rest was just nonsense.
Yeah, I think that's still too high. I'd give this like a 1.5 out of 10. Like it was painful to watch. You couldn't even finish it.
Yeah,
dude, I love how they don't list him. They don't credit him as Pavarotti. They credit him as famous tenor number 1.
Right. Well, because it's not actually Pavarotti.
Yeah.
Rusty, how can you give a movie a 3.5 when you said it was so bad you had to watch gore videos halfway through?
Yeah.
Are the gore videos like an 8 out of 10?
Well, I hate 3.5 is very, very low for me to ever watch a movie.
Yeah.
I don't consider 3.5 super low. I consider it like kind of verging on bad from like below average.
It's like you tried?
Yeah, it's 4 out of 10 is like below average for me. So 3.5 is like, it's just a little below average, but it's starting to get bad.
Anything below a 6, I will not watch. I know it's going to be horrific and painful.
That's fair. Well, boys, I don't want to blow your mind, but we have talked about this movie for 10 minutes longer than we talked about 2001. So do we have any final thoughts?
Don't watch it.
Well, even if you find a way to watch it, don't watch it. But I'm glad that they made it so hard to find.
Well, I wish we had talked more about the soundtrack, because I think that was my favorite thing about the movie. And
did you notice at one point they did something kind of cool? They sort of incorporated.
I have to go now, guys, because I got to go see Top Gun.
Oh, okay. Well, we're about to wrap up anyway. But at one point in the orchestra of the soundtrack, they include like a little bit of "Hail to the Chief," and then like they mix it into the original song. I thought that was kind of cool when they're showing Bill Clinton.
Cool. You're right. 4.5 out of 10.
10 out of 10. It's Kino. It's a good movie. 4 is a Kino. I've been Simian Jimmy.
I've been Rusty Cage.
Oh, shit. Well, that makes me Kino.
And what movie should we make Rusty watch 3 months from now, Kino?
Well, I'm going to watch this movie called Goodbye, Uncle Tom. And
I wanted to watch that.
Yeah, so maybe we can watch that next. I'm going to watch it either tonight or tomorrow, so I'll let you know. I think it's interesting, then maybe we can do that.
Cool.
Alrighty.
See you next time, folks.
Later.
See ya.